It's Happy Hour again from Uptown New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limousine or just got out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you because that's New Orleans and this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common. Other than we're all New Orleanians in a bar today, we're at the fabulous Wayfair on Ferret Street, which is the home of Not Your Mama's Frosé. The Frosé is a perfect summer drink, which is a frozen cocktail made with dry rosé, vodka, Saint-Germain, Peychaud's bitters, lemon juice, and a house-made strawberry basil syrup. And I'm sorry to tell you that nobody here at the table today has one.
I didn't hear the advertisement.
I'm a little shocked.
Yeah.
You didn't get the message about the Frosé. We can have that as your second drink.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Doesn't it sound enticing?
Very refreshing.
I listened to the last episode this morning on the way in.
Yes.
And I was like, that sounds delicious.
The Frosé, and you forgot by the time
did.
you got here.
I
You just went for the Moscow
for
Mule.
The vodka,
Yeah. This is the voice of Jeff Janusek. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
You nailed it. Actually, yes.
First time. Okay. So everybody in New Orleans wants to meet you, Jeff.
Hello.
Do you realize that? Do you know what this guy does? I see. A few generations ago, it would have been you were the guy who could like turn lead into gold or walk on water. You know what? Now everybody wants to meet you because Jeff is the person who can increase your social media following in New Orleans to a greater extent than anybody else here.
There's an asterisk there. We're going to try. We're going to try to do it.
But you do it. You're the king of social media.
Grant, you're my new hype man. You're hired.
Really?
You are hired.
Okay.
I'd love this.
I'd love to do that for a job.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
It seems like it's pretty difficult because nobody can pull it off. Everyone's like, I've only got 300 followers on my Instagram account. And
it's different for everybody, and there's a million different ways to do it, and every client, every you have different goals, right? So there's, what do you want to do? You want to get more people to eat at your restaurant? You want more people to
Will you tell us today on this show in the next hour?
All the secrets of social media.
Okay.
Are coming.
All right, so stick around for that.
I can't wait.
Yes.
Yeah, be ready.
It's going to be really good.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Joyce is here, who's a musician, singer-songwriter,
Yep.
juggler,
I juggle.
fire-breathing, and
I juggle.
sword-swallowing.
I do not fire, breathe, or
You don't do any fire-breathing or sword-swallowing, but you do write and record music.
Yes.
I'm very happy to have found you.
I'm happy to
It's
have
really
been found.
very, very interesting stuff that you're doing. It's sort of, it's hard to describe, but I would say the underpinning word is intelligent.
Oh.
Sort of an,
Take a drink to that, right?
Yeah.
Jeez, there you go.
Yeah,
Cheers to that, everybody. Cheers.
It's very,
Cheers.
very interesting. And Caitlin Carney is here.
Hi.
50% of Margie's Grill.
51.
51%. Really?
Yeah.
You're the 51% owner and the chef is the 49% owner. And how did you come to that arrangement?
Well, I'm the CEO.
But what did you have to do? I mean, he's cooking all the food.
Yeah, but I'm doing everything else.
But what, you would think that the food in a restaurant would be the most essential part. You think that he would say,
Well,
I'm going to
we're
be 51%.
partners.
Really? But how does it work? Is there a profit? And then when the profit gets divided up, you get 51% of it?
No. That's just if everything hits the fan, then I have 51%.
What has to hit the fan?
It all goes to shit.
But
So you're the one in court.
Yeah.
So actually, 51% is not a good thing.
what would the definition of that be, though? Like nobody comes to the restaurant and you owe a whole lot of money to people who sell you fish.
I mean, we've protected ourselves pretty well, so hopefully that's not what would happen. But
So what's the worst thing that could happen for the shit to hit the fan? Is people stop coming?
I would imagine we would all be underwater soon.
Oh, that. Well, then everybody would be screwed. You mean?
And
you mean
we
if
would
there's
be
like
too.
there's like worst case scenario flood. So the place is on Broad Street
Yes, we've been
What's the
slightly
flood
underwater
situation?
before now.
already.
The water comes up to the door, but
Sandbags.
we can wade. Yes. Sandbags.
It hasn't come in yet, though.
Just when the Sewage and Water Board drives down the street really fast.
Well, we've only had 300-year floods this year.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
by the
So
way,
the chance of another one.
what
is
works great on
slim.
social media is video of those people flooding other people's businesses and houses. So you should just step outside your
Agreed.
restaurant and do that because those people are assholes, right? And everybody loves to hate on them. So you
Yeah.
should totally, absolutely do that.
So
That's
when these
one
people
social
drive
media
by,
tip.
and make a big wake.
Yes.
You should be videoing that on your phone.
Absolutely.
And posting that immediately.
Calling them out.
Well, the problem is that no one's going to come to the restaurant for like 3 days after they see that because they're going to still think that we're underwater.
What's worse, a flood or a bad Yelp review?
I would say flood.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Nobody trusts Yelpers.
Cheers to that. There we go. Cheers
that
to the
right?
bad yes. Cheers to that. Yes.
Nobody trusts Yelp.
Well,
I
there's
mean,
there's a great I think there's a documentary out, and I don't know the name of it, about how Yelp manufactures negative reviews. So you pay them to come in and say, okay, yeah, oh my God, I got this bad review. I should totally, if I pay you, then maybe that'll go away, and you can help me get better at it. And so Yelp is kind of seen as a bully, right? Like almost like a digital mafia.
They call incessantly and try and get you to pay them for their services. And personally, I just don't even look at it, and it doesn't affect us at all.
So Yelp is a shakedown?
Yeah.
That's the accusation, and they're the yellow pages of the digital age. So they've created this demand, and it's going away, which is great. So it's awesome to hear you as a restaurant owner say that, because 5 years ago everybody freaked out about Yelp because that was the go-to place for restaurant reviews, make or break, right? And then all this stuff started happening, and people started realizing, like, do I need Yelp? And now people are actually making fun of Yelp and asking people for give me a 1-star review at my restaurant. Let's make fun. People don't really care too much about it anymore, which is a great thing, because
I got fired because of the Yelp review last spring.
Got
You did?
fired because someone wrote a bad. You were a waiter at a restaurant, and someone wrote a bad review about you,
Yeah.
and the restaurant fired you.
It wasn't even about me. It was about the fact that they didn't have most of, like, many things that were on the menu that we didn't have.
Yeah,
Wow.
I would say that most Yelp reviewers would not be local, and then and so they're going to expect things that maybe you're not going to have.
it's just and you're the restaurant owner, but from the social media side, tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like we live in a world of influencers. We live in a world of Yelp reviewers, right? And they come into restaurants and they try to make it like, you've got to appease me. You got to, like, I'm here. I can hold the power of reviews, that sort of stuff. But I really would want, if I owned a restaurant, to get both sides of the story, right? You got to make sure, okay, so what happened? Here's this, Paul B. has said that he got punched in the face, and he came in on Saturday night. So let's go talk to the Saturday night staff. What happened? I know I wouldn't hire somebody to punch somebody in the face. Let's go and I would hope that somebody did their due diligence on you before they fired you over a Yelp review.
The most toxic work culture.
Okay, so there you go. So
Well, that's the issue there.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
for me, we're a very small restaurant, and Marcus and I, the owners, are extremely involved. So almost every time we've gotten a negative Yelp review, I know exactly what the experience was. And because of that, I know that the perception is skewed. I think,
What are people saying about you that was wrong?
I mean,
got punched in the face.
yeah.
Now, what do they say, really? I mean, other than the food
I
sucks.
haven't read any in a long time because
You just don't read them intentionally, like reading a...
well,
You're-
it's like it's an unhealthy relationship.
Right.
You don't need to know all these things. We are very, very attentive to our guests. We check in with them often. We want to make sure that they're having a good time, and if they're not, we are going to deal with it. So if you can't present that to us while you're at the restaurant, then I can't help you.
Right.
We have had many experiences where we've had to take care of something for someone or made sure to get them something else because it wasn't what they expected. I mean, we're presenting a very unique cuisine to people, and we are aware of that. So if during your experience at Margie's you didn't feel the moment to to tell us that what you were having wasn't enjoyable, then I would say whatever you're going to say on the internet, I don't give a shit.
What is the general thing that someone orders something and it's not what they wanted, or they don't like it, and so they give you a bad Yelp review rather than just...
I think that people go out already with the intention to judge.
Yep.
There's certain people that are going out to have a good time, and that's most of our clientele, and we love them immensely for that. And then there's a few people that are going out because they have a bone to pick, or they're going to go out and they're going to judge everything because it's not the restaurant that they go to every day or whatever. And those are the type of people that are going to take it and be a reviewer anyways, and they weren't going to have a good time.
You
That
know-
sucks.
You know
Sucks
how
for them.
on your own Facebook feed, right, all your friends you have that like small percentage of people who you love reading their posts because it's just a shit show, right? It's like, oh my God, they're posting about that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I would never post that, but it's, I mean, they're absolutely living a crazy life. And why are they posting about that? Those are the people that leave the bad reviews. In my experience, 9 times out of 10, is it most of the time it's somebody who has an agenda or would rather go to Yelp first than come to you as the manager or the owner and say, hey, look, I had this problem, I just want to let you know, that sort of thing. It's reasonable people.
Right.
So,
Zero.
Yeah, I checked your Yelp out just to see if there's anything fun to pull.
Nice. Yeah,
Well,
tell me.
I'm a huge fan of Margie's.
Oh,
I go
thank
there all
you.
the time. But it seems like some people don't get it.
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
that's the thing.
They don't get the
and
decor.
it's not,
They
yeah.
don't get, they're like, oh,
Are they
it's
com-
bland
Are they
and
saying?
depressing.
What are they saying? Like it's messy.
Well, we have a lot of
The
like, we
plates
have
don't
Zero
match.
Street appeal, like there's like Coke. What you're doing is paying like $12 for a plate of chicken, which you want to pay $6 for.
Do
or
people
something.
complain
What?
about the price? Really?
That's pretty good.
it's a good deal. Yeah.
I think, well, the way that we structure the menu is that everything is a la carte and you're supposed to order a bunch of
Right.
stuff for the table and it's vegetables and it's protein and there's not a lot of cream and pasta and these like easy fillers, and I think that
So you
is
don't
where
get
the confusion
filled up
lies.
so quickly. Okay, so when you go out to dinner these days, how much should you expect to spend? If you
Me personally,
yeah, what do you
I
think is a
expect to
reasonable?
spend $50 to $75 a person.
50 to 75. a
Well, I
person?
mean, like, I'm not going out to dinner all the time. I'm going out to dinner
Well,
to
you're working
have
in
a
a
good
restaurant
time.
out all the time, so probably
If I was
presumably
going
you
out to
hardly ever
dinner
get
on
to
a
go.
regular basis, I would expect to spend at least $30.
Okay, what do you think, Jeremy?
I agree. I would
30?
regularly, and I do eat out a lot, but $30 per person
Yeah, if
is
it's
not.
like a
But if
just
it's like,
normal
if it's
dinner.
like, I'm really taking somebody out to dinner, we're gonna have a good time. Then
Right.
50 or $75.
50 to 75 a person. What do you think? Jeff, are
I
you
live two
prepared?
extremes, so I'm the father of 3 children. So if my wife and I get, my kids are 4 and twins that are 2.5. So if my wife and I get a time to go out and actually enjoy ourselves, I don't care, right? Let's go into debt.
Yeah.
I don't care. Let's just have a good time,
not
have
saving
some
money.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I'm working day to day and grinding it out, and when I'm getting lunch, I'm going for the cheapest possible. So I'm living on both ends of the extreme. So what you're saying, if I'm going to go out and have a good time, I mean, $50, $75 a person, that's absolutely.
Yeah.
Did I have a good time? Did I enjoy myself? That's what it's about.
And
All
what
right.
about a reasonable lunch?
I mean, also too, I like to think that I'm not insane. So I do look at the menu, and if I see the fillet for lunch that's $40, and I see a
Right.
hamburger that's 10, and I want to save money that day, I'm going to spend the $10. So to answer your question, I mean, I'm at peace with spending $12, $13 for something. If it's a big ass salad, that's really great.
Yeah.
I mean, so like, I'm not looking out.
Like 15 and under.
If I want to save money today, I'm going to go get some beef jerky at the corner store, or like the awesome gas station down the street from work, where I can get 2 chicken legs for $1.50.
Where's
Oh,
your
yeah,
Where's your
totally.
office?
Propeller, which is a co-working
you work
space
at
right up the
Propeller.
street.
Oh, you're
So
right
you-
by us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
need to come over to the. I'm such in a hole. And
I know what gas station you're talking about.
Right. Yeah. It's solid. I mean, can you? Is that what are the margins on 2 chicken legs for $1.50 fried hard?
I mean, it depends on the chicken.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't wanna know about
I'm not
that
asking
chicken.
questions, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, but it's solid. So like, I do need to come over that way because I'm in this like cave of work, and when I bust out, I normally don't eat lunch, which is why I'm here. This is my first literal sustenance of the day besides coffee.
Moscow Mule is the first thing you put in your body today.
I had some blueberries off of my son's plate this
Okay.
morning. That's about it.
So you haven't got time to eat lunch. You're so busy doing Instagram and
It was a conscious
Twitter.
decision today.
This is pretty typical of people that are on Instagram.
Yes,
They
yes,
don't eat
exactly.
lunch, yeah.
Yes, yes, don't eat lunch, right. Yes, yes. That's the influencers, correct? So So anyway,
Jeff, I want to talk to you about Instagram in just a minute, but before we
Sure.
go any further, Jeremy, I'm going to make you play a song.
Okay.
So pick up that guitar.
All right. Hold on.
And then, okay, go grab your guitar. It's a beautiful looking old guitar. Where does this guitar come from?
It's an old Gibson. I actually bought it in Malibu.
nice.
What were you doing in Malibu?
I was a traveling IT guy for 15 years.
Really?
A bunch of nerds over here.
Yeah, really?
Nerds over
So
here.
you were in the IT business before you gave it all up for rock and roll.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You gave it all up.
I gave it all up.
And what
yeah.
did you do when you say IT? What does that mean exactly?
I'm more like a enterprise kind of work for governments and big companies and stuff
Is it-
like that.
Which sort of governments? Like
Oh,
international?
there's mostly like federal government or state governments and stuff like that.
Oh, he's retired from the federal government
Yeah,
after
okay.
19. Now he
If
can
you
be
know
a
what you're
musician,
talking
right? He's got some.
What did you do for the federal government?
Nothing exciting at all.
But
Nothing.
what was it?
Oh,
Writing
just
software or?
yeah, fixing up things, upgrading software. You know.
Not really. No, I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Caitlin, you have any idea what he's
No.
talking
I could use one of you.
Oh no.
You need
can't.
an IT
I
person.
actually.
I need an IT person
can I tell
and
you?
a social media person.
Okay, this is a good day for you. then.
Can I tell you something funny? I think it was like I don't know if it was 4 or 5 years ago. I deleted my LinkedIn because I'm like, I need people to stop calling me, and so I'm.
Really?
Is LinkedIn still a thing?
It was, I
Yes.
think, 5 years ago, but
Yeah,
I
you-
would get some. I just deleted it because I was like, I don't want to get called anymore, and
You know, so
That's-
you've cut your ties completely with
Mm-hmm.
the straight world.
I was like talking to a buddy of mine who's a software guy in town, and I was like, I've been thinking about it, and then and I was like, you know what? Maybe it's better if I just don't.
So it frees you though. It's less. You're not chained by like. That's a thing too. I want to get to the song here, but that's a
Yeah.
thing too. Is the social
Yeah.
media guilt, right? That like depression because you're looking at everybody having this amazing life on Instagram,
Well, that's
and then
what
everybody's
sucks
skinny.
about social media.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone else is having a great life except me.
Right, exactly. Nobody's
all-
posting about the fact that your car
Right.
got flooded or you
All
broke
right,
up
no,
with somebody.
everybody's in Greece or they've been having.
But what I'll say about the music lifestyle is like, or any type of arts life. I just watched not just watched, but the Joan Jett documentary. And when people like ask her about like family life or personal life, she's like, no, I don't do that. I just have this rock and roll lifestyle, and that's what I got. That's what I gave up all those other things to do this.
Right.
And
What do you feel like you've given up?
I think that well, first of all, any kind of stable income and stable lifestyle.
Right, you gave up a stable income.
Yeah,
That's
so
one
you
thing.
you
That's
never.
pretty serious.
Yeah, and I think once you kind of realize you're a lifer, like I think there's one thing where it's like I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to hit a point, and maybe I'm going to stop. But once you kind of figure out that you're a lifer, you just know that you're in it through the highs and through the lows. And I think some of my biggest heroes are people that are a little bit older that still go out and hit the road and still keep writing and still keep doing it, because to me they're like they've really developed their craft, and I love seeing them work and seeing what they do.
When you were in IT this whole time, were you writing songs and playing?
Yeah, I was
the whole-
absolutely writing tunes all the time, and
Were you the only guy in your business doing something like that, or has everybody got some sort of outlet? Because otherwise, you
no,
go
I
crazy.
think a lot of people were just regular people, and I had kind of gotten into that business because basically I came out of like a lower middle class background, and I was good with
Where was this, in Philadelphia?
right outside of Philadelphia, and I was good with numbers, and pretty smart kid. So it was easy for me to get a job in the early 2000s in
Right.
technology. So, and that was like, oh wow, I'm like 21 years old. I'm like making a bunch of money. All right, this sounds great. Then before you know it, it's like 15 years later, and you're like, oh, then you're like, and I think as you get older, you get into your late 20s and early 30s, you start to think about who you are as a person, versus just like, what do I need to,
Right.
So-
Had you gotten married or anything in the interim?
No, I've been pretty much. I don't know how to describe what my relationship statuses are, but
There's somebody
Do
sitting
tell.
down. Yes.
What are they currently? Well, let's work backwards.
currently they're.
Pressure. Here we go.
I'm gonna get in trouble. I think.
It's complicated. What, are you dating anybody? You're not married to anybody.
I'm kind of dating.
Kinda dating somebody.
Yeah.
Kind of dating somebody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it anybody we know?
No. Well, I will say I have like a very wonderful young lady who does not live in town, and
And doesn't listen to podcasts.
Did you tell her you're going to be on
she's
this
definitely
podcast?
going to listen to this podcast. I'm going to get so much shit about it.
Well, you might as well just tell the truth and tells you madly in love with her and everything's going to work out. Where does she live exactly?
Oh, you Lord.
I mean, how
He's
far
not
away?
turning red. He's not
It's your
turning
mom.
No, it's fine.
Okay,
You're
cool.
holding.
Yeah, he can stand. How far away does she live? Like close or miles and miles away?
Grant, I think I could give you all the answers in a song, man.
Yes, okay. What's it called?
This song is called What Love Used to Be. And what it's about, and this is especially important as we get older for us folks that are still single out there. When we were young, we let ourselves just fall. Like falling in love was falling, like being out of control. But we get a little bit older and we remember all those times that somebody hurt us or we hurt them. And all of a sudden we try to put control on top of love, putting all these rules on it. And I know everybody does it because I do it too. So I was thinking, I don't know, maybe love could be what it used to be. If love could be what it used to be, when we were young and our hearts were free. We used to fall so easily when love was what it used to be. When love was an ocean, I jumped right in. I didn't care if I could sink or swim. Now safe on the shore, I watch gulls on the wind, thinking how I used to jump right in. All those were low, our highs they were high. With each broken heart, I felt like I could die. So tell me, baby, is that the reason why we're afraid to fall in love again? If a new branch grows from a fallen tree,
Very nice indeed. What did you think, Caitlin?
I loved it.
That was
Jeff?
great. I love
It
the vibe.
was.
That was cool. It was chill.
Jeremy, Joyce, that's beautiful. That's amazing that you have the confidence to do that.
I don't know. Yeah, you know what?
Isn't it great to sit in a little tiny little space like this and look people right in the eye and play that? Not like you're miles away from them in a stadium or in a bar with smoky. Well, there's no smoking anymore, but you know what I mean. That's pretty, and it's pretty brave to sit there and do that.
True.
It only makes people mildly uncomfortable.
I don't think we're uncomfortable, were we?
Well, what makes it uncomfortable is if you were like, oh, yeah, I'm a singer-songwriter, and then you started singing, and it was like, and you couldn't sing. What was
Yeah,
great
that would
was
be
You
embarrassing.
could actually sing, so
We
like,
haven't-
that was really good.
We haven't ever had that problem. Thank God in New Orleans. You don't get that in New Orleans.
That's true.
So you moved here for music?
I honestly moved down here to spend more. I was in St. Louis at the time. I had finished up kind of like my last IT job up there. Then I was like helping my buddy put together a studio, and I was making a record up there. And then my sister had moved to New Orleans, and you know, my mother had recently passed away at that time, about 6 years ago. So I thought, well, I'm in St. Louis. My sister's down in New Orleans. Let me just go move down there and hang out with my sister. My sister was a trumpet at the time. Disorder.
I believe it.
And,
That's a great band name, though.
yeah,
You should
yeah.
go
The
with that.
maniacal clarinetist.
Yes,
Yeah.
with a personality disorder.
I
The
was,
whole thing.
yeah, it's weird. Musicians are, I mean, I think you get all kind of personalities and all kind of jobs, but when you're a musician, you can get by with a lot of issues. You know,
Are there more
There's a lot
issues
of-
in St. Louis with musicians or in New Orleans?
New Orleans just has people from everywhere, so you just get more variety, you know. And I would say that, you know, yeah, I would say like there's more wildness
We
down
like
here.
issues.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like we thrive on issues
It's
down
true.
here.
We do.
If you don't have issues, you're boring.
But the thing with the arts
good
is
quote.
that, and probably I'm sure restaurants too, is that people want great food or they want great music and they're prepared to forgive you all kinds of transgressions if you're prepared to provide them with awesome food and awesome entertainment.
Artists, right?
Yeah. Say, oh, well, the guy's fucked up, but hey, you know what? Check out the song.
Yeah, I actually I got in trouble on Mardi Gras this year. I like.
Trouble at Mardi Gras. That's like
I
not
know.
even a
I
thing.
know.
You're-
Well, I
you're
agreed.
cleansed, man.
I
You're
agreed.
good.
I agreed to play music on Mardi Gras Day, which I know, and then like
For like in what context? Like where?
at gigs and
Like
stuff
you
like
had
that.
to be somewhere at a certain time.
I had to be places
That's
and
just
perform.
unfortunate.
Good point.
Yeah, and I think I fell off my chair on stage, and
part of the show.
oh,
Yeah,
Part of the
right.
show on Mardi Gras
I don't
Day.
think anyone noticed.
No,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
good.
yeah.
You're good. It's all right.
Did you get paid anyway?
I still got paid.
Aye,
yeah,
what the
so-
hell?
There you
All
go.
right.
So
Hey,
you
listen,
did it.
we're going to stop for a moment and take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about the secrets to Instagram
Oh
Yay,
boy. Okay.
and
I
other
can't
social
wait.
media. First of
my
all, let
best.
me tell you about Nola pens. They're the only pens made from a fallen Audubon Park live oak tree. These one-of-a-kind, expertly crafted, limited edition writing instruments are available at nolapens.com. And I have one in my hand. Here, Caitlin, try that pen and tell me what you think.
Wow.
Check, isn't it beautiful?
Yeah, it's amazing.
You can write it on the tablecloth here at Wayfair. It is a great pen.
I love the
And
gold.
And Basics on Magazine Street near Jefferson Avenue have fine lingerie, and Basics Swim and Gym right next door has a full range of fashion swimsuits, workout, and yoga clothes with style. And the Positive Vibrations Foundation create and encourage community through the development and preservation of the arts, music, culture, and heritage. If you'd like to join our Patreon family, go to patreon.com and search for It's New Orleans Happy Hour. And for as little as $1, you can become a member of our Patreon family and get exclusive stuff that ordinary people don't get. And we'll be right back after this. And we're back on Happy Hour with Caitlin Carney, Jeremy Joyce, and Jeff Janusek, the king of social media in all of New Orleans. Now, I remember when you first moved to New Orleans and I met you, and you were a radio guy, like me, we were both ex-radio guys. And then the bottom fell out of radio and nobody wanted to employ guys at all, basically. I mean, you can still get a job on radio, but you just
Sure.
have to basically, you know, I don't know what even there is to
They
do
throw
anymore.
change at you or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's no money. The pay got less and less.
Well, I moved here, you know, after being in radio for like 17 years, and you know, I'd gotten fed up with radio. I'd gone through the ringer, and you know, my wife's from New Orleans, so like the story
That'll
goes for a lot of
do it
people,
right
right?
there, yeah.
Right, yeah. So let's move
Have to
and,
move here.
Look, I wasn't kicking and screaming. I was all about moving to New Orleans. I love it. You know, I've been with my wife for a long time, so of course I wanted to move back here. But I thought I'd get a radio gig, and then you know, you get here, and I'm not going to replace the radio icons that have been around for years and years and years, and that's who makes the livable wage, right? So I quickly realized, like, well, I'm not going to support my family on a radio salary. So I started looking elsewhere. So I started looking into digital jobs and going on interviews, and then I kind of fell into working with it was a nonprofit. Is basically trying to fix the streets of New Orleans. I pitched to
What year are we talking about?
this is 2014. I moved here, and that's where we moved to Lakeview, and that's where they put signs in the yard that said, "Fix my streets, I pay my taxes," like these big
Right.
red signs. And that caught wind, and I called the guy behind that, and I said, "Hey, I would love to help you develop a social media campaign," and that got a lot of attention, and that led to me saying, "Okay, well, I think I can do this," because I basically lived on social media for radio. I can help other people do this, and I just started growing the business from there.
So this was 2014.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say you did social media for radio, there wasn't hardly any social media at that point to do. I mean,
Well-
it was 5 years ago. I admit it wasn't that long ago, but
No, I started radio in 1998, I think.
right. Well, I think
and
the iPhone was invented in 2007.
I remember when that happened, right?
So-
And- well,
So there wasn't much social media going on for until.
Well, by the
how
time
long, yeah?
like Facebook really came around in 2005, and it didn't go public till like 2006, right? Available to the public.
Right.
So I moved to Cincinnati, Ohio, was a major market, which is like a big, like going from the like AA to like the major leagues for radio. I went from Fayetteville, Arkansas to Cincinnati, Ohio, and it was a big deal. I worked for a big company, and when I got to this big company, which was Clear Channel, it's now iHeartRadio, right? And their deal was like, we want to get attention anywhere we can so we can put ads, whether that's on the radio or that's on this thing called blogging or social media is a thing now. This is 2007. So like the ratings were important for our radio show, but so were clicks. So were, what's this Facebook thing? Oh, it's 2008. Twitter's starting. What's Twitter? What's that all about? They didn't care where you would go. It was all about go to wherever the people are and get attention and get clicks. So I mean, I really feel like I started my social media career, I mean, really in the early 2000s. We were producing videos and doing stuff like before YouTube was around.
Did someone teach you how to do this, or did you just figure it out?
No, wing it, man. Just like, and I worked with great people to learn from them. And then, now I work with, different, freelancers and team members who can help out with that. But I would just learn from people. And then part of it was like, oh, cool. What's this editing software? I got a tiny little video camera at the time. Now a video camera might cost you $50, but at the time it was like, here's $500. Like, go experiment with video, and that's what we would do. Is like, all right, so let's put some videos out, and like, I guess in Cincinnati we almost got into a reality show, and if I would have paid attention to what was going on, there was a video that we put out when YouTube first came around that got in the first day like 150,000 views, which was big at the time. And we should have
be big today, wouldn't it?
It would be pretty big today, but it should have been, and it was like we did almost like a current events video on YouTube. We were talking about something that happened in Cincinnati that day.
Right.
Had we kept producing those videos every single day, we might be my radio partner at the time.
We might be
YouTube stars now, right? But we were like, whatever. This is a blip on the radar. So we started experimenting with this stuff, and then it's all trial by fire. It's like, I feel like I was raised in the marketing world, and then social media was learned afterwards. And if you have the basic marketing principles of how to get attention from people and know how to talk to people and all that sort of good stuff, you can figure out social media, right?
No, I don't think most people can figure out social media. Here come the frosés.
All right.
Good job.
Cheers, Jeremy, to the
Good
frosé.
job,
Good
Caitlin.
job, man. I'm going to get a picture of that.
That
for
is
social media. Right,
that's social media ready.
Cheers. Here we go. Got to get the portrait mode on. Got that. Okay, good.
See, that's the thing that's the key sentence that you just said here. It just seems like common sense to you, but it's not. Most people are wondering why my social media following, and with a business, I don't know whether people who have a social media like an Instagram account that has cats in it or something probably don't have the same issue. But if you have a business like your business, like the restaurant business, or you're a musician, you want to know how to get more people to follow you and how to turn those followers into customers.
Here's the secret, and it's not going to change your world. But the secret is and I do this as a business owner. I'm a business owner too. The secret is if you're a business owner and you're trying to find a way to increase business, you approach social media as another advertising channel. It's another chance to get people to come in the door. It's another chance to sell whatever it might be. So you're tempted to say like, okay, well, if we're going to do a TV spot, we're going to make a video that looks like a TV spot. We're going to put a billboard up and it's going to look like a billboard. People treat social media for their business like that, and it is not another billboard. It's not a TV, it's social media. So you can't go to Twitter and just force feed people like amazing pictures of your food, right? Or maybe it's like, I want people to come buy the chicken special, so here's the chicken special. You have to listen to that audience that you want to reach. So if you want to reach a certain audience and you know that people in this part of town or this demographic, you know they live on this social media channel, you have to listen to what they are into and then try to pay attention to what...
Okay, wait up. What are they into? How do you know what people
I
are
can
into?
answer one of those.
Okay.
Yes.
They're into noodles,
Noodles.
dumplings, and fried food.
Fried food. Like it's...
I would say that if you, for example, if you're like, for me, I find that if I'm like working on material, just providing like 30 seconds of something I'm working on. So for me, like restaurants, what I would find, I find behind the scenes stuff interesting in restaurants.
Well, and then people. The things that get
Yeah.
the most likes for us is if we ever have a noodle or a dumpling special, of course.
So that's a content bucket, is like so categories,
we're
right?
lucky because we change our menu every single day. We do specials every single day, so we have constant content. And it's new and it's unique, so it keeps people engaged. But I think you're right. Like, I see restaurants that don't really change their menu very often, so it's the same picture, the same thing, and that doesn't really work. You have to provide people with a reason to look and a reason to come, especially nowadays where it's like your attention span is 20 seconds, like if that. So
you're exactly right. And you have to pay attention to what is getting the engagement, what's getting the likes. And here's the difference with social media that in marketing, this is amazing, is all right, you buy a billboard. A billboard, like I think the billboard in the Superdome, and last I heard was like $10,000 or $15,000 a month. Like if you want to have your in the Smoothie King Center, right? In the Smoothie King Centers, you know that big, huge, when you're driving on I-10, you see that huge, crazy, like just to have your blip on there, your 3-second blip that's rotating for a month, it's like $10,000 or something like that, right? So how do you know how many people drove by and actually saw it and got the message? You don't. They tell you, like, we estimate 100,000 people drive by a day. It's like, oh, great, 100,000 people see my message. But what if you've got a billboard ad that's full of words and nobody can understand what it is, that sort of thing? You don't know. And you don't really truly know how many people drove by. But on social media, you know exactly how many likes you get. You know how many impressions you got. The data, whatever you call it, is right there at your fingertips. So you can literally go back and say, we threw everything at the wall this month, and the fried chicken special and the dumplings were killing it. So guess what? Every week we have to have at least one picture of dumplings or a photo of dumplings, and then a video of you talking about the specials. Wow, that did really well. So you got to have that video. So like, you've got to look at those analytics. That's what really separates things. You got to look at the back end stuff, right? So you were saying, like, for you, what works is like when you're kind of maybe playing around, noodling on stuff, like experiment.
Just still in the creative process. You know, just even putting up 30 seconds of something, and be like, oh, I'm working on this.
So that's a huge clue right there. Like, do that. Like, and you can't fill your feed with that maybe, but maybe you can. Like, do that every other day or twice a week, and just pay attention to what you're doing. Look at what gets the interactions. Look at what people are paying attention to. They're telling you, we like this, right? So, you know, there's algorithms and all that sort of bullshit, but at the same time, like, people, there's humans behind mostly. There's humans behind the social media accounts that tell you, like, this,
and I think
we like this.
Humans want human contact.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's what we're hungry for, and that's where, like, I think when you say it's like billboard style social media posts, people ignore that. Like, if I say please come to my if I say please come to my show, or, you know, people like scroll past that. But if I say, oh, here's like a cool lick in this key, people are like, oh, that's like a thing that I can relate to. You know, and they check it out.
Well, people also like to be like in the know. So if they like just saw this moment that like perhaps will never happen again, that is a big deal. Like, if we're gonna have a one night only, we're doing this thing, like, that's how you get people in and get people engaged and like excited, because they're following you, they're getting something.
Okay, so these are the people who are already following you. You're posting stuff about, what did you say the three things are? Noodles, what else?
Dumplings and fried food.
And fried food.
So there's a caveat to it, though, is it's not just because you have 1,000 fans or followers doesn't mean when you post something all 1,000 people see it. So what might happen, like, say, okay, so Grant posts something, right, and I hit like on it, then Facebook will show that to 3 other people that are similar to all that cool, you know, information that they sold to Russia that they have on me, and they'll say, okay, so here's 3 people like Jeff who are Jeff's friends, so we know if Jeff liked Grant's post, then we're going to show it to 3 people similar to Jeff. Does that make sense?
This is really how this works.
Yes, and this happens like in seconds. And look, number one, I don't actually know, but this is how it's supposed to work, right? Our guess is. And then if those 3 people share it, and then 3 more, so that's 9 now, and then in multiple. Like, if it keeps spreading, then it starts. That's how it goes viral.
Okay.
It goes far.
And this is going beyond people who already like you. This is beyond people who already like you. This is out into the world.
Do you spend money on ads? Do you boost or?
I have boosted, and it does work in certain incidents.
Exactly.
But when we were talking about Yelp earlier, like when they come over and try and like get us to pay for stuff, I'm like, I don't pay for advertising because I have in social media, and that's the same thing. You just have to put your effort into it. We try and post twice a day because
it's great.
That's visibility.
And that's all. You have consistency, so you have a plan, and having consistencies or having some sort of plan, right, is super helpful.
Posting twice a day is good.
Well,
that what you suggest?
not necessarily. It's different for everybody, and it literally is different for everybody. What I like to hear about that is, you know what works for you, right? And you feel like that's working, so keep doing it, right? So but to have a plan. What a lot of business owners do is they will, we need social media, so they'll go out and post like 3 things in a day, and then they'll forget about it because they got a million things to do,
Right.
and then a week later they're like, oh my god, I forgot to post.
Well,
And
this
then
is why they hire you, because you're actually on it. Someone who hires
Well,
you
I
as
think
a...
that you want to have a clear voice.
Yes.
And that's like all part of branding and identity, and you need to present yourself as this one entity, and if you're getting freaked out and posting 3 times in one day and then not posting for a week, then it's not consistent. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Your guests aren't
Well, that's
really...
interesting. So consistency works.
Yes, and then also too knowing what your key performance indicator is, your KPI. Like, what's your goal, right? So like
KPI.
KPI,
Key performance indicator.
Yeah, we're big on that. We because everything's different. Like,
Do you make that up, or is that in a textbook or
I'm
something?
just tech. I'm steal everything, steal all my ideas. It's you want to make so like it's great to get likes, it's great to get followers, but are you selling
More dumplings.
more dumplings? Like, okay, so like week 1 we didn't post on social and we sold 10 dumplings. Week 2 we posted on social and we sold 20. Week 3 we posted on social and we boosted and we sold 50. Right? So then you can kind of hopefully track, and then ideally, in a perfect world, and this is almost impossible, if a new customer comes in, how'd you find out about us? Somebody has to ask that, whether it's the host or the hostess or the waiter, waitress, whoever. How'd you find out about us? So we haven't seen you around here before. I saw it on Facebook. And you have to start tracking. So you go like,
Wait, that seems like a lot of work.
it is a lot of work. But again, that's the hard part about this is it gets complicated quick, but at the same time, it's really just knowing where people came from and knowing whether it's worth it to invest in that sort of thing, right?
People ask all the time, how do I know if this is working?
Right.
How do you know if it's working?
It's
I mean,
up-
other than what Caitlin, we'd have to ask someone if they come in the restaurant, how'd you hear about it?
If you hire our company,
Yes.
it's up to us to let you know that it's working.
I'm
right?
going to hire you. How much does it cost me?
Like $10 million, man.
$10 million
That's right.
a week?
Just exactly.
totally worth
yes,
it.
Totally. or Moscow Mules.
So if I hire you, I have a company and I hire you, you guarantee that you're going to grow my social media following, or is there some sort of, or I'm just winging it and then
No, so
hope?
we do set goals, right? But like,
Okay.
it's hard to say. Like, as a marketing company, I got to be careful about saying like we guarantee that you're going to sell 50 more dumplings, right? Because there's a lot of other things that go into selling a dumpling than just a Facebook post. So what we try to do is we say, okay, we're going to do 3 posts about dumplings and we're going to spend $50 here, and the KPI, how we measure our success is showing you that we expose this ad to 10,000 people. And then we also worked with you to develop a way to try to quantify that in the real world. So what we loosely say that like we guarantee things, but you can never guarantee. But we work hand in hand with you to try and figure out, is this working? Because if you're paying us and you're not seeing a return, then we totally get it. Like, why pay us, right? So we have to work hard.
But this does work. It does work. Obviously, you wouldn't be in business and you wouldn't have employees.
Social media works like hands down, no matter what. That's a huge reason why we've been successful is
Are you
because of
serious?
our presence. Absolutely, we put a special up. Like we're immediately getting calls about like, oh, are you gonna have that for dinner? Can I get it to
KPI,
go? Blah,
there you
blah, blah.
go.
Like
Wow.
it's.
How many people do you have following? What are you on? What do you use? Instagram?
We use Instagram
How
for
many-
the most part. We have almost 10,000 followers.
10,000.
I like a lot of restaurants in New Orleans, but I don't follow many of them, and I do follow Margie's, and like I don't know why, but
Can you
it's
think
like,
why?
Well, see, Jeff is all about the science of social media, but I also feel like there's a je ne sais quoi, like
You're right.
it's
They're
subjective.
sort of fun
it's
or they're
totally,
hip or
It's totally inexplicable. Why do I
Right.
follow Margie's Grill on? There's so many restaurants I like. I love Margie's Grill, but I follow you guys
Well,
on
thank
Instagram.
you.
That's great, because like there's also too, like obviously as a marketing company we try to quantify it so we can get more clients and prove it to you, right? But as a restaurant owner and you're trying to get this out here, I'm
So you're
looking
looking at Margie's right now.
Well, I think that what we do is like
it's a feeling too.
it wouldn't make sense for someone else to do it.
Right.
Because it's like very, very personal.
Yep.
And it changes constantly, and it's every day, and it's Marcus and I's voice. But I think that also that's probably why you follow us, because every day it's a new adventure. You have no idea what's going to happen. We don't have any idea what's going to happen. It's ridiculous. But for, other places where every day that's pretty much of a constant, keeping that fresh would be harder, I would imagine. And
okay, I have a lot more questions about social media, but before we go any further, let's play another song.
Another song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to know, when we come back to talk about this, though, how, well, besides just posting stuff about noodles and dumplings and fried food.
We don't have dumplings that often.
Well, how am I supposed to interact with other people as well and, like, comment on their stuff and make it seem like I'm interested in someone else's
You don't have to do
bullshit?
anything that you're not comfortable with.
No, but
I like
to
that.
get
Yes,
people
yes.
to get people to like me, aren't
Think
I
about this.
supposed to do more than just talk about my noodles? Aren't I supposed to talk about your noodles?
Talk about your
Social
noodles.
media is the networking happy hour. If you are trying to increase your business and you go to a networking happy hour and you show up and you stand up against the wall and you've got 2 Bud Lights in your hand and you just scream, "Hey, I'm Grant. Do business with me. Totally. Come over here and do business with me." Nobody's gonna come talk to you. But if you
that's
walk
why it's
over
never worked.
with your drink, right? Yeah, I know. I saw
Don't
you do that
talk
one time.
about your noodles.
Right. You show up and you just casual, just talk, and then eventually, what do you do? Oh, I got this great podcast and blah blah blah. Oh, cool. I want to know more about that. That's business, right? That's how social media it should be. It shouldn't be just blasting people in your face and saying come
Okay,
by.
but my question is the same thing. Am I supposed to go on Instagram and
Yes, go
spend
talk
an
to
hour screwing around commenting on other people's stuff?
Yes.
So that's what I don't do. Do you do that, Caitlin?
Nah, I don't got time for that shit.
Jeremy, do you do that? Do you just get on?
Occasionally. I've actually been really slacking on all the social stuff lately.
So this is why we need to
yeah.
employ you.
The rule is this: if somebody talks to you, just talk back to them. To go out and create conversations, that's a lot of work. But just make sure if somebody asks you a question or talks to you or says, "That's a great post. I really like
Yeah.
that."
Yeah, that
just
makes
talk back
sense.
to them. That's it. That's
Well,
the
it's the
step.
right thing to do.
Right.
I
It's
normally
polite.
see that
Yeah.
3 weeks
I
later.
love your food. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's it.
But you're supposed to stay on. I normally see those people send messages and stuff. I see it a couple of weeks later. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Well, you can still say
It's
thank
not.
you. There's
Yeah,
nothing wrong
it
with
doesn't
that.
seem to do any good though. You need to be on it. You really need to be on top of this thing.
There's a system for it, man. It's just, let me
KPI.
co-host more often, and I'll help you out.
Okay, all right. Jeremy, what are you playing?
I wanted to do something that was kind of visual and it was like a New Orleans tune. So I'm going to do one called Lower Decatur Blues.
Okay. Hey, do you have do you have a record out or anything?
The record is coming.
Okay.
The record is
We'll
coming.
get on to that in a minute. Lower Decatur Blues it is.
Crossing neutral ground and past the BMC, there's a busker bucket drumming at 2:45. Keep your head down, but don't stare at your feet because somebody got stabbed last night. The queen of the quarter presides over court while the duke of the dark tried his hand at the sword. She ate him up just like the meat off a fork and he didn't even put up a fight. Follow the river down to the side of town where the night people go to meet. Down on Decatur where the lake got later and the sidewalk stuck to my feet. Drugs in my hand, a one-night stand, I got a reason to stay awake. There ain't no heart that likes to play in the dark, that doesn't know how to break. Sunglasses, eyelashes, dyeing her hair. She doesn't own a single set of underwear. She said it's gonna cost me $1 to stare. I put my money down. Whiskey and water, bourbon and coke. I'm drinking all my money, now I'm good and broke. I'm playing chicken with my liver, trying not to choke. Don't turn that car around. Follow the river down to the side of town where the night people go to meet. Down on Decatur where the lake got later and the sidewalk stuck to my feet. Drugs in my hand, a one-night stand. I got a reason to stay away. There ain't no heart that likes to play in the dark, that doesn't know how to break. Rattle them bones, rattle that can. Shake what you got to an old jug band. Nickel, quarter, dollar, better pay the man if you want to get your thrills. 'Cause there's blood in the carpet, there's blood in the hall, there's blood on the seat of the bathroom stall. I'm looking at my phone for somebody to call, but I forgot to pay the bill. Follow the river down to the side of town where the night people go to meet. It's down on Decatur, late got later, the sidewalk stuck to my feet. Drugs in my hand, a one-night stand. I got a reason to stay awake. There ain't no heart that likes to play in the dark, that doesn't know how to break.
Ta-da! Yes. Jeremy Joyce, what's that song actually called?
Lower Decatur Blues.
Lower Decatur
Somebody
Blues.
else named it because I didn't have a name for it, and it got like the song isn't even recorded, but people know it, you know, because I play it a lot, you know.
It's not actually a blues, is it?
No, but then somebody said, "Play that song, play that Lower Decatur Blues," and then I knew,
So
it,
you
and I knew what they were talking about, so that's why I called it.
That's a good
yeah.
song.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So, do you enjoy playing like that? I mean, are those lyrics funny to you when you sing them?
They're not funny. I mean, I think I like humor. I actually, almost went into humor. I studied some sketch comedy.
Are you going to be a comedian?
I was interested in writing comedy, but I think I was always I like to make jokes and stuff like that, and I like phrases, and so I don't think it's funny. I just think, to me, I just write the way that I write.
I think those lyrics were funny, didn't you think?
No, are you going to go see Tenacious D in New Orleans? Is that Tenacious D? Yes, no?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't actually have a life. All I do is you know what I'm saying? People, I can't, it's crazy, but people, I just don't have any free time. It's wild, you know?
You just sleeping or playing the guitar?
Pretty much. Actually, I started.
Doesn't sound that bad.
Actually, I started, I used to do tons and tons and tons of gigs, but this past couple 6 months ago I started pedi-cabbing and turning down gigs. Believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, I started. Well, it's a wild
You're
thing.
sort of going the other direction. Most people are going to give up pedi-cabbing to become a successful
Well, I got to
musician.
tell you what, I felt like I was being stressed so much by performing so much that I thought I needed to give myself a little bit of. And I was a bike messenger 20 years ago in Philadelphia.
Are you independently wealthy from your IT days?
No, I'm not.
You didn't save anything.
I screwed up. I messed up. I totally got fleeced in the crash in 07. Yeah,
really?
I totally got wiped out. So I am not independently wealthy. I just, I make it work, man. And
are you happy doing this?
yeah,
lifestyle?
I have to. I tell you what, I'm not. I wouldn't say that I'm jubilant, but if I'm not doing it, I'm sad.
That would be weird.
Yeah.
Jubilant is not a natural way to be.
I'm jubilant.
Well, how do you feel? Because you work like a dog as well, Caitlin.
I hear you 100%.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I am exhausted, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
So you're happy doing this?
Yes. I'm very happy. I'm waiting for the day that we can retire on a beach in Vietnam, but I know it's probably 20 years from now, so it's cool.
But are you happy every day, or are you mostly too tired to be happy, or are you just happy that it's working out?
No, I'm happy. I mean, I'm living my
You're having
dream.
fun.
I'm being a creative spirit. We're providing something that isn't here, and Marcus and I are doing it together. It's amazing.
I like that, exhausted but happy, right?
Yeah.
So you find your happiness.
I mean, you're a father of two. I'm sure it's the same thing. Three. Sorry.
Triple exhausted. No, but yeah, that's exactly right. That's awesome that you go where what makes you happy, right? You realize you're being stressed, and you decided to.
Yeah, I think
no more gigs. You're pedi-cabbing. That's awesome.
Well, I'm not no more gigs. I'm still
less gigs.
But what I got to say is that once you find your And there's a bigger story to that, because I think that as like an artist songwriter, you have to have.
Are you stealing content from your riders? It's gotta be.
Not yet,
Yeah,
not
right.
yet.
It always goes back to content
But
with him.
but you have to have like some free mental time
Yeah.
in order to be able to write, and so anyway, there's something about being busy that makes it hard to create. But what I'll say is that like it's funny about